And if it happens to be that technology is taking us away from that, then indirectly it's responsible for less connection. But my paper and my concern is about how technology is taking away time face to face. And that is what's causing the physical changes and the intellectual damage that I have complained about. And there's a very big difference between that and saying, social technology kills brain cells and Facebook causes cancer. I never said that, and that's why the Royal Institute of Biology published my paper. All the biologists and scientists looked at it, and they didn't and wouldn't publish any of your papers because yours is a load of advertising and mine isn't, and you know it, which is why you spent your talk bashing me instead of providing some substantial facts and base it upon your own children's benefits. Well, that's not a way to settle this discussion. My kids also do what your kids do, but I don't use it as scientific evidence. It's not good enough.
Yeah, sure.
Remember that the paper had social networking in the title. To deny it was about social networking or to suddenly reverse engineer and say it wasn't actually about social networking on the internet is a bit rich.
It had inverse quotations around it intentionally, and you know that.
No. That's the very opposite.
Take a look at your slide then.
Show them again. Of the case. Let me just make 2 points. There's a very interesting question here about the isolation of the variables, because that's what Aric's paper didn't do. It didn't isolate any of the variables to do with technology, but made claims about technology. And a lot of this work is about, there's a whole load of messy stuff here that's really about correlation and not causation. You know, there are 500 fires in Berlin last year, and there were 500 fire engines turn up. Doesn't mean to say that 500 fire engines caused the 500 fires. And that's what a lot of this debate swings into, a lack of causality with regard to the technology cause and the effects measured by people. And another rather odd claim here about children's behavior, as if they only talk to, as if we in the real world only ever talk one-to-one, face-to-face, really close like this. We never talk in groups. Don't you guys go to bars? Don't you talk to your family in groups? Of course, we often jump between talking to one person to a group. I've been doing that all day. The things that kids do on social networking, and especially with Messenger, which is quite deep and detailed chat, is quite sophisticated in terms of communication. And they may be talking to multiple people, like my kids, because they're cousins. I live in the south of England. All of their cousins are Scottish and live in Scotland. It's a damn fine thing that they communicate with those other kids. Otherwise, at my age, I would have had to have written them a letter every fortnight. These are beneficial and good things that kids get up to in terms of communicating. And it's not all down to every piece of communication should be face-to-face. We go to the movies. Suspension of disbelief is a good thing. It produces wonderful art. You notice how we're picking on social networking and technology. We don't pick on the kids who are sitting reading 600, 700-page books on Harry Potter. We're not saying that those kids are being socially isolated. We're not saying that going to the movies socially isolates you. We pick on technology, which I think this is why this is such a good question. It's isolating one amongst many variables. That's where we've got to be careful.
Yes, here in the fourth row.
Probably a kind of conclusion. We're talking about three main things, which is media, is technology, and is education. And probably we should remember that there are hundreds and hundreds of research papers that say that media use in education don't make any difference. And secondly, I think it is important to remember that technology is meant to solve social problems, not to get the planet full of garbage. And finally, I think it's important to remember that pedagogy is not meant to follow technology, but technology to follow pedagogy. It's about including technology by grounding sound pedagogy, sound learning theories. So it is about being responsible how we use technology in education.
Okay, thank you for that. I'm going to take three more contributions from the floor because we've got to wind up, although the buses to the party are going to keep going in a kind of shuttle service until about 8:30, I think. But if we have 3 more contributions, then I'll ask each side to sum up. Yeah.
I think the thing that's important here is what we're talking about is not the use of technology, it's how we restrict the use of technology. And one thing that really disturbed me, Jerry, with what you said is about the collateral damage and the fact that you'd got these guys in Korea who were falling dead in front of machines. Now, we know we can stop that happening. And there were also kids that died in a car because their parents were inside on the internet all the time. So we have the technology there. I don't think anybody's saying it's a wrong thing to use. However, what we need to do is we need to control how much of the use of the technology that's there. Nobody's saying go back to writing letters, you know, but I have 3 kids. They all learn in different ways, and I don't consider any of them that I want to have them being a collateral damage.
Do you want to reply to that as it was addressed to you personally, briefly?
Sure, just for a moment. I'm not entirely sure how you legislate that parents can't do something on the internet in the front seat of a car. I really don't. I think that accidents happen, people use bad judgment, terrible things occur all the time, every day, and they occur with or without technology. All too often in society, what we end up doing is some bad thing happens, so we try to legislate away the conditions that might have led to that thing. To my mind, legislation is what we create when discourse fails and when actually proper socialization and proper upbringing fails. I'd rather pay attention to actually educating, and I'm not even sure that's a verb. I think learning is a verb, and I don't know how to educate. I think what you can do is actually sort of trust kids and then be there by their side as a mentor. And I think, to your question earlier, I think parenting is changing in that way and is crucially important. But it's no longer about, I know better. You know, look at what you need to know to work today in an office. In your own offices, look at all the stuff you had to master. 10 years ago, did any school know that this was all going to be in your lap and you would have to know it all? And did any school teach you how to use it? No. So for any kid that's going into school, we don't know, and we think we're experts. One of the other things that's falling right now is the culture of expertise. We think we know better, so we design systems and we create pedagogy. Hell, I don't know from pedagogy. What I'd love to do is turn pedagogy inside out so that any child can look at a buffet menu and sort their way to the learning style that fits them. And if it's a lecture, terrific. I think there should be lecturers, and I think there should be public lecturers being paid to give great public lectures, and there should be adults in the audience and children in the audience and high schoolers, and I don't care what age they are, and they should have those lectures all recorded and be available for free on the net. Terrific. I don't think lectures should ever go away. But I think that the roles are going to change much more profoundly than we think, and parents need to be part of that, not controlling, and legislation needs to be part of that, not trying to lock things down.
Okay, thanks for that. Yeah. David Hollow at the back. Back there, behind the camera.
Hi there, David Hollow from Royal Holloway, University of London. 2 quick points which I'd appreciate your response to. The first, surely when the panel asked, we don't really know what the 16-year-olds are doing in their bedroom while they're on the computer, we need to acknowledge the reality that quite a lot of them are watching pornography. I think that's been omitted from the debate, and it's curious how we can circumvent that. The second is for Donald. Having recently completed the first independent evaluation of the One Laptop Per Child program in Ethiopia, I would ask why we insist on romanticizing the poor with our own technophile vision of the future, when actually the substance on the ground in terms of educational outcomes is very different from the vision that you presented.
Okay. Thanks for that, David.